Your evolution means nothing to the person who no longer wants you in their life. You being amazing now has no bearing on you being a monster then. The people who've only known the evolved you don't see it as a risk to be involved with you because this is all they know. The person who knew you when not only sees it as a risk, it's a threat to their peace. Someone whose heart you broke is hateful to you, not just because you hurt them. A lot of them are afraid that if they let their guard down, they'll let you back in and you'll do the same thing all over again. So it's 50% you hurt me before, so I won't give you the chance to do it again, but it's also 50% you made a fool of me once. And if you do it again, it'll be my fault for being stupid or being trusting or being gullible or whatever other demeaning word they either use on themselves or are met with through and by the judgment of others.
Passion public service announcement. Passionate. Let me tell you something.
So what is this Passion PSA podcast? Who am I? Well, they call me Passion, short for passion, no last necessary. Why is there no last name necessary? Because the first name says it all. I am Passion and all that embodies. What do I do here? I give you the life coaching that you know you need, but don't enroll yourself in. When did I start? Actually, 2017. I'd leave a PSA on my Instagram regarding something I'd observed, and now we've evolved to this. Why do I do it? Why not? If even one person is able to take away one thing that changes their life, someone else's life, or changes the world for the better, then I've done what I was charged to do. So come on in, sit and listen for a while. There's something here for everyone at the Passion PSA podcast.
All right, so Mr. Softy's going to be our soundtrack. Okay. Greetings and salutations, my beloved passionates, newcomers, visitors, and guests. Wow, that is really loud. Welcome to the season finale of the Passion PSA podcast, where I, Passion No Last Necessary, your Get You Right guru, issue a weekly public service announcement about whatever I have observed or was on my mind. This is a for your consideration zone where the objective is to offer you a perspective you may not have previously considered, to A, expand your thinking, and B, to aid you in becoming a better version of yourself for yourself and for others. This is a safe space, but not necessarily a delicate one. I will never rob you of your right to feel how you feel. Same way, I will not sugarcoat the truth to make it more palatable. The goal is to get you to higher, more expanded thinking. If you are new here, it is our usual practice to take about 60 seconds at the beginning of each episode to make affirmations. The intention is to ensure that regardless of what we discuss and how it may make you feel, that we have intentionally started on the highest possible vibration and that we are all on the same frequency. So let us shift the energy upward. If you're ready, you are always welcome to repeat after me or use this time to state your own affirmations. I am open to change. I accept that to everything there is a beginning and an end, even if I know neither. I respect my own space. I respect the space of others. I give myself the space I need to heal and grow. I release others to heal and grow. I accept that there is a season for everything. I appreciate the changing of the seasons. Gratitude. Ashe, ashe, ashe. So passionates, we've spent just about the last month really digging into how we're responding to things that have affected us, how to heal, and what to do when you're trying to go forward, but the other party is trying to keep you parked at what you did when. I know some of y'all got rubbed the wrong way, and that's okay. Like I said, healing work doesn't always feel good because we have to deal with things within ourselves that we have previously overlooked or given ourselves passes for, or because we have to revisit some things that made us feel pretty awful. But not healing doesn't just impact the unhealed person. It impacts everyone that has to deal with them, and that's not fair to anyone. Point is, I know some may have even felt a little victimized or beat up because they felt like I was telling them to shoulder all the responsibility of moving on or of putting down their hurt, of turning the other cheek. And that's fine. Bruised ego will always either have something to say or shut down entirely because it won't give the satisfaction of admitting that it was injured in the first place. That said, today, I'm talking about post-forgiveness relationship. And this is not a review of last week, although it may seem similar. I'm specifically talking to those who have done a disservice, they've done a wrong, they have transgressed, they have created a space where someone had to choose between hatred or bitterness and forgiveness. You were forgiven, and now you feel like, well, it should just be business as usual. Before I get too deep into this, if you don't feel like this applies to you and you are currently drafting the list of people who you need to share this to, you are delusional and your ego is as out of check as the people who have offended you. We all have done something to someone that has forever changed the trajectory of our relationship. There are things that we feel they're minor and we shrug it off as the other person being oversensitive or making too much of something. But just because we didn't intend harm doesn't mean we didn't inflict harm. And good intentions or not, we don't get to decide how someone else should process their feelings or how someone should respond to something just because we wouldn't have responded the same way. Also, it's not the same thing because I only did this, but this person did that. It is 100% the same thing. The thing you did that you thought was a joke because you thought it was funny is as problematic as the thing they did that they thought wasn't that big of a deal. And the bottom line is everyone deciding that it's not that bad makes that assertion because they're not the one on the receiving end of it. We justify so we don't have to feel bad about our actions, not because we shouldn't. In any event, there are a lot of people out here living carelessly, doing whatever they want with no regard to or for fallout. They operate with reckless abandon, and societal tenets make them feel like they should always have a safe haven of forgiveness to which to return. And while that may be ideal in theory, in practicum, forgiving someone for something doesn't mean that the relationship isn't injured or altered. Now, we briefly talked about forgiveness in the last episode, and that it's more for the forgiver than the forgiven. But what if we change the vocabulary from forgive to forgo? If forgiveness from the forgiver's perspective implies to the receiver that what they did was somehow okay because you're not going to condemn them for the rest of their life, what if we instead decided to forgo? I forgo the option of hating or resenting you. I don't respect your actions. I've lost respect for you as an individual, but I acknowledge that you do have the potential to grow and change and do better. The acceptance that what is done and can't be undone in no way is pardon. I think that may help to establish the boundary that while you're not going to harp on it, your opinion of them or your opinion of the relationship is now altered. Now, receiver, if after you've gotten this, you want to still call and come around and act like everything is peaches and cream when it's not, there should be no reason for you to be perplexed as to why. What's more perplexing is how you could be so dense. And since you are, it's time to cut away some of this thicket so we can let in the light of good sense.
Passionates, are you particular about what you put on your skin and what you put in your hair? If you're anything like me, you're very specific about the ingredients of the products that you're using. And my good sis, LaShondra, has a product that's probably perfect for you. She calls it LaShondra's Essentials Strengthening and Nourishing Hair and Body Oil. And she infuses actual herbs into the oil. Let me give you, I have my phone in my hand because the list of benefits of this product is so long. So I need to make sure that I tell you all of the things that it's good for. So if you have issues with eczema, psoriasis, alopecia, dermatitis, dry hair or scalp, dry skin, excess shedding and hair breakage, dark spots, brightening under eye circles, fading stretch marks, if you have burns or you have scars, this is the product for you, and it can be used as a massage oil or a beard oil. Now, I don't know how many products you have available to you that you can do all of that with, but I know for a fact that this product does that and more. I have used it. I stand by it. I am a fan of it. It takes only a drop. And the best part of this whole announcement is that my sis has been so gracious as to extend a 20% off offer for my Passionates. And the code that you need to use is Passionate for y'all. So head on over to her Etsy, etsy.com/shop/LaShandra's Essentials. You can use my discount code Passionate for 20% off. If you did not want to go that route, you wanted to just go to the link below in the description box, do that, click the link, and the discount code is already applied as soon as you click the link. She also offers CMOS, so get into it. Go check out her site. Go check out her product, and thank me later. Let's get back to the episode.
I went skating outside the other day, and I was working on my turns and transitions. When I started skating backwards, my wheel hit a pebble. Down she went. So I hit my elbow. I don't know if you can see it. I hit my elbow in the fall. But since I had on my hoodie, I didn't get cut or lose skin. I did, however, get this burn. The bone in my elbow doesn't hurt the same way it did when I fell, but the boo-boo was still tender to the touch. When I was in the 10th grade, I was on a soccer team. In practice one day, I was running down the field with the ball, and I don't know what happened, okay? But your girl went down and slid across the ground for what felt like forever and would definitely look like I started sliding into home from third base. I had all kinds of injuries, and one of the worst was on my right elbow. That slide dragged the skin off my elbow. It hurt to do everything from bathing to putting on clothes to having my arm at my side. There was almost nothing I could do to avoid contact with it. So I was almost always in discomfort until it started to heal. And even then, it still hurt. It still burned. To look at it today, you wouldn't know that much damage was done because it doesn't look as bad as it was. You see a light scar. I see the scar and the story that goes along with it. Either way, we both know there's a scar, and said scar will probably never go away. What's the point of these stories? Whether the occurrence is still new, whether the offense is still fresh, even if a decade has passed and the injury is no longer painful, the scar is still there. Whether it was big or small, that one thing you did may have caused them to look at you differently. It may have caused them to question more about you than that one thing. But Passion, why can't it just be an isolated incident that we leave behind us? Everything doesn't have to have a correlation. That's debatable. People who lie can cause you to question everything they say because you never know when they're actually telling the truth. If you stole, it doesn't matter why you did it to the person you stole from. All that matters is that you're not able to do it again. And even if your act, whether it was stealing or lying or cheating, if it was an act of desperation, all that tells the other person is when your back is against the wall, you'll sacrifice your morals and their trust to get yourself out of a jam. That does not breed incentive to let you back in. What shows up in one part of your personality can show up in other parts of your personality as well. So while you don't believe there's a correlation between your actions in one instance and your actions in another instance, there is. It either was expressed differently or got a different reaction, so you don't see it as the same thing. But a mirror and a looking glass, they're the same thing, even if they call different names. Okay, Passion, I get it if it just happened, but this thing happened years ago. Like, I acknowledge that I was wrong. I know I did something terrible. Like you said last week, I can't undo it. And truth be told, like, I haven't done anything like that since, and I will never do it again. Why don't I deserve another chance? I'm not even the same person I was then. And while that is true, your evolution means nothing to the person who no longer wants you in their life. You being amazing now has no bearing on you being a monster then. The people who've only known the evolved you don't see it as a risk to be involved with you because this is all they know. The person who knew you when not only sees it as a risk, it's a threat to their peace. Someone whose heart you broke is hateful to you, not just because you hurt them. A lot of them are afraid that if they let their guard down, they'll let you back in and you'll do the same thing all over again. So it's 50% you hurt me before, so I won't give you the chance to do it again, but it's also 50% you made a fool of me once. And if you do it again, it'll be my fault for being stupid or being trusting or being gullible or whatever other demeaning word they either use on themselves or are met with through and by the judgment of others. Everyone wants to believe they're a good or at least a decent judge of character. Giving someone multiple chances and them doing you dirty every time is not only humiliating and devastating, it makes you question your decision making. Am I a good judge of character? Do I make good decisions? Am I as smart as I think I am? Because if I am, how do I keep getting this wrong? So while you may have had time to self-reflect and may have realized where you have erred, where you may have even gotten a taste of your own medicine and said, damn, no wonder they hate me. None of that erases how they perceive you. Your argument is, I can't undo it, and so is theirs. You can't undo it. You can't lie to me about everything for a year and then expect me to take you at your word a year later. The lasting impression that you left is that you're a liar, period. You can't steal from me and then expect me to welcome you back into my home, even if everything is glued down. Even if someone stole everything from you and almost took your life, so now you completely understand why I felt the way I felt. I didn't just feel that way about the situation. I felt that way about the person who caused it. Maybe because I thought more highly of you. Maybe because I've seen you behave differently in the same circumstance with other people. Maybe because I would never have done anything like that to you. So I just can't believe that you could so casually do that to me. Regardless, if you created a circumstance that moved you from part of my happy to that which makes me unhappy, the only way for us to be happy going forward is apart. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Just because you still want me in your life doesn't mean I want you in mine. You grew? Great. You tell the truth now? Fantastic. You're loyal, faithful, and reliable. Your partner must be ecstatic. But that wasn't my experience with you. And I don't want any additional experiences with you. Everyone comes into your life for a reason or a season, right? Well, if our season was monsoon season and the land finally dried, I'm not interested in not one drop of rain from you, even if the ground is parched. And stop trying to become the victim after you've done damage. I apologize. I've extended countless olive branches. I've even taken them when they talk to me crazy. And it's like nothing is ever enough. But have you left them alone though? Have you stopped trying to be a member of a club that doesn't want your membership? Like, why are you pledging for the fraternity that you're never going to get into? To prove that you did everything and that their refusal is the problem? Because like it or not, your ego is still the problem. Nobody owes it to you to want you around. Nobody owes it to you to allow you to actively participate in their happiness, especially if you had the opportunity and you ruined it. Opportunity waits for no one. So if you had the chance to be part of my life and you squandered it, make your peace with not being part of my life instead of trying to make me see why I should let you come around again. My peace means more to me than the fragility of your ego. Now, Passionates, I think I have given you an answer for every question or every side of this. I think that we have done some deep digging and diving all season long. We started out talking about consistency and how to stay consistent. We talked about checking in with your friends and seeing if their personal terms and conditions have been updated and if the terms and conditions of your relationship with them have changed any. We talked about people bringing things up but not to deal with it, just to say they want to deal with something somewhere down the line. We talked about the difference between what you're communicating, what you're feeling, and what the other person is receiving. The balance in that cannot be discussed enough. Communicate what you feel and ensure the person that needs to know it is receiving it that way, or you could be headed down a long and stressful road. We talked about why shoulda, woulda, coulda doesn't serve us. And the bottom line is, if we had it to do all over again, whatever we would change would have us lamenting over what we'd do differently if we had it to do all over again. We talked with Aisha about responding from trauma. We talked with Shangri about starting a pod, being our own accountability partner, self-sabotaging behavior. We talked about not airing people out because whatever doesn't come out in the wash will come out in the rinse. Shout out to Maddie at all times. And that time will reveal and expose whatever needs to be exposed without
personal bias. We talked to Illa about being an artist and finding your voice through finding a different way to deliver the message or communicate what you're trying to say. Oh my gosh, y'all. I gave y'all my opinion about the Oscars, that whole sideshow fiasco and what you should have gleaned from it. With respect to your own life, I shared with you all the ups and downs of the renovation project and my solar return reflections. We talked about people being lazy because they have access to you and how selfish it is. We talked about the legacy that we're building and what we'll leave behind when we're gone. And then we circled right around back to self-work, talking about insulating versus isolating, how to mend in order not to isolate yourself, recognizing that the people that are trying to eternally condemn you for something you're no longer doing, those people are just projecting because they can't control their own feelings. And finally, letting them hard-headed ones know in this episode, sometimes letting go of it means letting go of you. And if that's not okay with you, think twice before you act once. I don't know about you all, but I think we've done some amazing work. I know what I've put in, and I am proud of me. I definitely have areas that can use improvement. And in the off season, I'll be working on those areas. I will also be working on other parts of my talents. So definitely expect an EP release and at least one publication. I'll be working on some other visual projects as well as other shows for the network. I'm always working on me. So that'll never stop. And I hope you are taking these gems and jewels and working on yourself, which is the ultimate goal of this pod. To those of you who have contributed financially, thank you so much. Your donations go to the pod for equipment, for site maintenance. Thank you for not counting it robbery to sow a seed into this ministry. To those of you who make it a point to leave a comment, thank you so much. Comments are as important as likes, shares, and subscriptions. It helps motivate the platform to make the pod more readily available to others. The text and cell feedback, it is also appreciated. Whether you watch or you listen and you leave a comment, or you watch or listen and you leave, you are still appreciated. I do this for us. I love you and I appreciate the journey that we are on together. As always, comments, questions, concerns, commendations, or criticisms can and should be left below. Listener letters can be sent to mybrilliantfriendpassion@gmail.com. Whether you're viewing or listening on your preferred podcast platform, like, subscribe, turn on notifications, share. Please help me, help others, help themselves. If you would like to be a financial contributor, donations can be made via Podbean, PayPal, Cash App, Linktree, or Zelle. All the links are in the description box. Every little bit helps. Donations can still be made in the off season. They will still be used toward the pod. This is your Get You Right Guru signing off for this season. Y'all go forth, be great, be filled with bliss, be armed and empowered with knowledge. Remember that forgiveness is foregoing the negativity and prioritizing your peace. Remember that even if you have to do business with them, you don't have to allow them to get close to you just because they want to be. Remember that if you've wronged someone, they don't owe you anything. Not forgiveness, not a second chance, not a second look. Even if you have morphed into the most amazing person ever, if they want nothing more to do with you, respect that and give them their space. Maybe y'all's season was supposed to end the way it did to catalyze the changes in you so you would become great. Who knows? All we know is that if they want distance from you, you should give it to them if you really want them to be happy. Remember that this is the season finale. Thank you for a phenomenal season 2. I'm looking so forward to an even more incredible season 3. Keep your eyes open because the podcast is on break, but the What One Woman Does Network is not. In all things, be passionate. See you in September. Later.